why Dana George quit playing small and went all in on his dream.
Welcome to the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast.
We're your hosts, David and Al Denning.
What happens when a millennial couple dives headfirst into the insurance world, scales $1 million remote business, and decides to share the journey with the world?
You get the Modern Insurance Agent.
Here, we reveal the messy, magical, and sometimes hilarious realities of building a business and a life you love.
From traveling the globe to building remote teams. Yes, even working remotely on top of a mountain in the Philippines. We're sharing insights, strategies, and plenty of laughs to help agents and entrepreneurs succeed.
Because, let's face it, success isn't just about hitting numbers.
It's about designing a life that works for you.
So let's dive in and build something extraordinary together.
Welcome back to the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast. Today's guest is Dana George, a financial advisor who plays the long game. But before we dive in, you can get the show notes, all the goodies, everything we got for you guys, as well as how to connect with our guests if you go to jumpstartgonow.com/podcast. We've got it all put together. You can go and grab that. But let's go ahead and hop in. After 12 years of putting it off, Dana went all in on earning his securities license and is now building a modern practice focused on young families, pension planning, and mortgage protection. He's a dad of 3, loves basketball, and a firm believer that focus, discipline, and consistency are the real cheat codes in today's business landscape. Let's get into it. Welcome to the show, Dana.
David, thank you for having me. And I love your intro. That's pretty dope.
Thank you. I have to probably give most of the credit to Elle, but I'll take credit wherever I can. She's not here right now, so there we go. Yeah, I'll take credit, right? So something like that. So, but no, super excited to have you here. It was really great connecting with you before we hopped on a little bit, catching up. And but yeah, let's I know we want to talk eventually a bit about what life looks like right now and kind of some of the thoughts on kind of the future of industry and some of these things too. But let's roll it back to a little bit towards the beginning. Like when did you first start thinking about getting a securities license, doing this? What kind of led to like kind of putting it off for a little bit, or before you finally, kind of move forward on that?
So I originally got life license at New York Life back in 2012, I think it was. And then I was building my practice, and then they were talking about getting certain security licenses. It was something I wanted to go to, but then that's when I started to have our first baby. So it kind of like put things off on that. And then one thing led to another. And then for personal reasons, I couldn't hang on and go ahead and do it. Then I got back into the industry a few years back. I was like, I'm going to do my securities license now. Didn't do it. But then I decided last year that I was like, I'm going to put my foot down and start studying and get my securities license, which I was able to get. I finished my testing February of this year.
Awesome. Congrats. Thank you. Not as simple, just sit down and answer a few questions, right? Those tests are not really a joke. Those are pretty intense, right?
Exhausting. And I think I forgot everything on it. So if I got retested, I would fail.
Well, if it's anything like the life insurance test, like 80% of it's not really relevant to day to day, a little bit on it. So, but it's like got 92%. Done. That's right.
Yeah.
So what all licenses did you get? What license do you have?
So 766 in my life license. And then in between the stay, I actually had gotten my mortgage and my property and casualty. So I was kind of like a lost soul trying to find where I wanted to go. And actually what got me back into the industry, I was doing pretty good with mortgages, doing pretty good with PNC, but I'll never forget this. I had a client call me up, and I heard it in her voice, and she said, I won't say the person's name, but did this person get life insurance? And I remember the pause between when I answered. It seemed like it was like an hour long, and it hurt. Like it hurt tremendously a lot, because I recall speaking to that person 5 to 7 times and just showing up and they didn't do it. And that's when I knew that I was making money in other industries, but where my heart and my passion lied was within the financial life insurance industry.
Yeah, it makes a world of difference and impact, right? And
definitely,
so,
yeah.
we can educate them, we can help them, we can follow up with them, but they still gotta make a decision. But either way, it's not good when they have it, right? And that's the story I
No.
hear from a lot of agents, right? And if anything, it just makes them, especially like even ones that focus on other lines, realize just how important it is to have this discussion and make sure to have the live conversations with them too on
Correct.
that side. So,
Correct.
so you got all the licenses. You got so many licenses. We just call you DMV, right? So, but yeah. No, don't tell Elle. She tells me my jokes are terrible, but whatever. I thought that was good. Whatever. So
that was good.
But yeah. So you okay? I realize I want to do this. I want to go all in. I realize the importance and the value of this. So you grinded, right? Like 8 months of studying, prepping, getting that test done. What did it look like during that period? Because that's a lot of time, effort, and getting ready for it. What would that look like? Also balancing family and business during that time too.
It kind of looked like I was trying to lift up a mountain because I was literally studying for a lot of days, between 6 to 10 hour days. And I hate studying, and I am married. I also have 3 kids. And then I had to do like side work as well, because, the bill collector does not care what you're trying to study for. So those days were long and grueling, but it was probably like one of the biggest accomplishments that I've made, outside of the kids and being married. But other than that, those
gotta
were
mention
like
those real quick, yeah.
But
just in case they're listening.
Top. right. But
that's number 3
was the
up
biggest
there.
thing.
Yeah.
Number 3.
I love it. And so. And with that, like that mindset shift, that because it really came down to like you making that decision to do that, put that in place, and what was.
Right.
Was there any like key, like, yeah, this is kind of what pushed me across the edge, or just like, hey, it's just kind of time?
I think everyone comes to a point in life where they have to plant the flag. And that was mine. And it was like, I'm getting older. I made my sacrifices. I made my adjustments. It's time to like really get into the career that I wanted to, that I've been postponing. And I knew I wanted to get it because I've always had regrets, and not taking it. So that's what I did. I said, you know what? I'm just going to stop everything, because I didn't want anything to really fall back on. I just wanted to put it on the line where there was only one way to go forward, and I couldn't look back. So, and I'm so proud of myself for it, and it's given me like a big confidence booster as well.
I love that. When you have that way forward, then that's the only way out, right? Burn the boats, burn the bridge. Well, don't burn the bridges. I like bridges. I like relationships, right? But yeah, like there's no going back, right? It's like we're going forward, and we got that vision that we want to work towards, and ultimately, like if I want a difference in my life, I gotta take the action. So congrats on that. Congrats on the tests, the licenses, which you've already done so far, and only getting started, right? You got the whole future ahead of the impact that you're looking to continue to make. And we'll dive into that too. But part of that in the future going forward is change. And it's not just our own change, it's what's changing with the industry and way people do stuff. Yeah. And you mentioned before that people ignore calls, but are replying to direct messages. When did you first start noticing that shift, and why do you think there is that shift?
I mean, I don't know if you ever called someone before, and then like as you're calling, they text you, I can't pick up right now. I think it's just like it's kind of funny. So then I realized, just from making social media posts, I've learned a lot more since I've worked with you guys, but just making social media posts, like someone will reach out to me there as opposed to just hitting me up on my cell phone. And then also it's just crazy that when you post on social media, it's almost like validation that you're like a legit person. I don't know why. Even if it's friends and family, just like friends and family was like, oh, I saw everything on social media, but they didn't call me and they didn't text me. But then you hit them up on social media, like you'll have a better conversation than sometimes on the phone. So like the phone is like good for those close, tight knit people, but everything under that, like just hit me up on social media. That's what it seems like.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where people live. That's where they hang out. I mean, the average American spending at least 2.5 hours a day on social media a day. I mean, it's more time they're spending almost anywhere else, right? Right. And so, and the changing of the demographics and how people react to things has changed a little bit too. Like, what would you say, like just kind of general age range of your target audience kind of clients is?
I mean, I'm 40, so I'm have people like 10 years to 10 years older than me. That's who like I work with.
Mm-hmm.
But I have family members that are, a lot older on social media that I didn't think
Mm-hmm.
they would be on it, and being able to reconnect and catch up with them, and then for them saying, "Hey, I saw what you post. Keep up the good work. We didn't have that going on in our family. It's great to see, what you're doing." So it's like a blessing, social media, because the connections that you make and the reconnections that you make as well. So it goes like really far.
I love that. And you're right. Like even half of 65-year-olds use Facebook every single day, for example. Like they're on the social. But then as you get down into like the 40s and younger, like still that falls a millennial. And then you go down to Gen Z, and millennials and Gen Z, like they won't even answer the phone for their own friends. You're definitely getting that
No,
text of like, why are you calling me? Right. And so stuff has changed, right? Where maybe a more boomer generations like used to picking up the phone, talking with someone,
right.
answering it and stuff, but stuff's changed. So we got to change too if we want to get in contact. So I love, hey, I've noticed that respond to messages, you have validation on social. To millennial and Gen Z, if you're not on social, you don't exist. You're not a real person. You're probably fake AI or something, right? That so right. And
Basically.
so it becomes even more important, right? And so, how has social media changed the way that you do business now?
I mean, even like back before when I was buying leads, and you could friend request them and they would accept it. If you left a voicemail, like they wouldn't call you back, but if you left a voicemail friend request and then they saw you, I was like, "Oh, I got your voicemail." Like, why don't you just call me and say that or something like that? Like, but like once again, it just shows that it was validation. So there are times where I would send my Facebook link to show that I'm a real person. Like, these are my kids. This is my family. This is what I do. So it just seems like having social media is almost like a license in itself. It shows that you are
Yeah,
real.
it's a way to show and build trust. I'll be honest. I know a lot of agents like back. I worked leads. I've agents work leads in the past too. Like that was like almost like, oh, let me prove I'm real. Let me send my license to someone, and that'll help show like, oh, I'm an agent, right? But in reality, like at the most they're seeing a picture of you, a name, and it says you're an insurance agent on there. But like, what does a license number and stuff mean to a normal person? Like
Correct.
they don't know what ABC 123 whatever. Oh well, clearly he's licensed because I don't know what a license looks like. I could have any number.
Right.
They're not going to go look it up, right? And so they don't know where to go to DOI and do that, right? And they don't even know what a DOI is. And so I didn't know until I got insurance what DOI was, right? So with that, like, okay, if I look at the things that they actually pay attention to, that what they see a picture, they see my name, they see kind of what I do, right? And like it's like, oh, I can show that plus all my family and all this other stuff that I'm real through
Yeah.
social, right? And so I love that you're like, hey, let me give them this, and they even more know that I'm a real person and probably things to connect about. Oh, I have kids too. Oh, my kids also play sports or music, right? And like now I've already got connections and conversations going versus like I promise I'm an. Look at this random number,
Correct.
So I love that. And so, and in other ways of building kind of like trust through social is like one is like video. So why do you think video works well to build credibility with your audience? And are you doing any video yourself?
Well, I see more video now than
Mm-hmm.
when it first started. But legitimately, like, people, when I was making videos and posting more videos, the licensing kind of nixed all that. I had to work on that. But people, I could tell someone over the phone, but if I put it in a video, it was more credible than me saying it right over the phone. So that's just like another weird thing. So I would post when I was talking about mortgages. I used to talk about people about mortgages. I got more leads that way by just making a video and posting on YouTube and sending my YouTube than me just saying this is what I do. So, and I think it's a factor of that you're actually getting uncomfortable in doing it, and someone else would never do that. Like, I think that's just another factor as well that goes to it. I don't know why people feel like that, but it's really just press play and then post, and then you just go from there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been trained almost since beginning of when we started school, that someone presenting or talking in front of people or talking to people is someone who's an authority, someone who's educating, someone who's teaching, someone to pay attention to. So now if they see you talking about something on social media, or you sending them a video, you talking through something like, oh, this is the person who's talking about something, presenting something, the authority. So I think they do see a lot of impact from that. Plus that no like trust. Oh, I get to see Dana, I get to hear his voice, I get to hear what he talks about, right? And that's very different versus some random person called me and I don't know who that person is, right? So
it's true. That is true.
Yeah. So I love that. I love that you're taking advantage of that you're using that and getting comfortable with video, right? And so as it is probably one of the highest consumed types of content today, whether it's, TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, people like video, right? It's more fun and entertaining that way, right? So not that you got to do any dances or anything like that, but if you want to, it gets attention for sure, right? So
you guys are good with it.
I like to have fun, right? At the end of the day, if business is fun, it's even easier, right? When you get to enjoy what you do every day, which I know you enjoy what you do every day. And I know you're all about like internal, like growth and habits and, and that leading to success long-term. So you said you've been working on consistency and focus and discipline. What's been some of the biggest challenges there? And what's that look like?
I think the biggest thing to overcome, and I don't think people realize this, is actually internal growth. That is really the biggest thing to overcome, because you could know every single thing in the world, but if you don't have the confidence, if you don't believe in yourself, if you just don't, just like, if you really don't have that belief in yourself, it doesn't matter what you absolutely know. So that's something I actually do work on a lot, is internal growth. Which has led to me being more confident, to where I realize is like, I took this test, I passed the test, I remember every single thing on it, but I do know more than most people out there. And you can't be able to share that stuff if you think of yourself as too little, or you're lacking a lot. So working on yourself is just as important as working on the industry and learning certain things as well. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing, because you'll see people post is like, oh, well, I called 10 people, I called 20 people, I called 100 people. I think this industry is not for me. But like, if you have confidence in yourself that that I can call the 101 and someone will pick up, or the 102 and the person picked up, but I messed up, but now I fixed it. And it's just an ongoing growth.
Absolutely. And so what are some of the actions you're taking for that internal growth? What does that look like on some of the things you're doing there?
I listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube that is not industry related. It's a lot of mental stuff to get yourself psyched up. I do a lot of writing. I do a lot of meditating. But the biggest thing I would say that has helped me a lot is focusing on gratitude, to being grateful for where I am, and being grateful for this industry, and being grateful for the people who did speak to me, and not worry about the people who did not speak to me. Because a lot of times you focus on what's not working. Meanwhile, your business is here, and you could start growing from there and start focusing on this. But a lot of times we focus on the stuff that didn't work for us.
I love that mindset, and I think that's very common in top performers is having that shift. Because I focus on what's going wrong, I'm not focusing on gratitude or what's going right and going forward. Then it's just a downward spiral shift. And also, people don't like to be around people that are just focused on the negative. They like to be focused on the positive, right? Especially when it comes to my money and my future of my money and what I'm going to do with all that retirement investments, right? Exactly. I want positive thoughts around that. I don't want negative thoughts, right? So I want when the agent's like, yeah, it might work out, or you might be broke, or I want them like, hey, yeah, let me help you put that in plan. I mean, right. I mean, we joke, but that's the, personalities and that come across with who we work with, and that's also how people decide that, right? It plays into a factor of it, right? And Absolutely. So with that kind of discipline, the mindset which you put in place in there, how do you stay on track when life and business both get like chaotic? I think like most agents and business owners, life isn't just like simple and smooth and no challenges. Especially when you got family and kids and business, things get a little crazy some days.
You have to just step away. There's times where you have to step away, go for a walk, do some writing, watch something on Netflix, just change the mood real quick. Because a lot of times, like what people don't realize is that like a bad day is really not a bad day. You just had a bad moment and you made it into a bad day. Oh, this person cursed me out over the phone, or this person policy lapse, or this person, whatever the case may be. That really is, and it doesn't even have to be a bad moment. We actually made it a bad moment. It could be a lapse. Oh, that sucks, but let me go on to the next one. But when we let it lapse, I'm going to get reversed. I had to pay the bills. And then we just add on to it. And that one moment that was really like less than 60 seconds, we allow it to be the full 24 hours or for the rest of the week or whatever the case may be.
Such an important point, as I think it's once again that the whole focus on negative and letting it just take over, when in reality, like that's part of day to day, and that's part of working with people and talking with people, or as a part of that. So I like that. Hey, we don't let that moment define the rest of our hour, especially the rest of the day, or take that home to our family and stuff too.
Correct.
Because those are the people we want to bring joy and bring us joy, right? And so in order to protect you, I mean, that's a lot of that's mental. So in order to protect yourself around that, or just keep yourself strong around that, or do you have any routines or frameworks you found that help you lock in, or that you just have as part of your day to day of like, this keeps me strong on that side?
I actually put in my calendar to go for a walk, just to, whether something good or something not as good went well, just to go for a walk, just for like a little reset. I believe in resets. It's good. It's just good for you. I used to be the guy who said, I'm just going to go slam my head into this wall until I get through the wall. And it actually was, some people could do it. I'm not going to knock it, but it just was not for me. So I had to find out who I was as a person, what's going to work for me. And slamming my head into the wall, I actually did worse than good. So, because you think if I take that 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, I'm missing 10, but you're actually like resetting yourself and you can get more work done.
It's advice I even need to take. That's where I got the dents from. Is just like wall, right? That's why this forehead's all messed up, right? So no, I love it. And it is important, right? Because you look at, you can push and slam against the wall, but there's almost a decline in performance. You may even take more time, more effort than taking a little bit away to reset, right? And, that's kind of like athletes, like even gym, right? Like I like gym, could hit a little bit more, maybe go later today, right? But like, if you're weightlifting and doing a set, you get tired the longer you go. But if you take a few minutes away, recap, catch your breath, come back, you always feel like your renewed energy ready to go again, right? And versus just trying to keep pushing. So no, I think that's great. And I think a lot of agents that grind too much during the day and end up maybe diminishing performance from it could definitely apply that. So schedule a little exercise, guys. Get out, do some exercise. Your health insurance will thank you for it.
Better rating on your life insurance policy too.
Yeah, and you want to live long enough to enjoy that retirement that you're putting stuff in place, right? So, focus on that health also, right? And so, talking about future and finance, like I want to talk about a little bit around the future of insurance from financial services and what that kind of looks like as things shift or change over the years. And, I know you believe social media will keep driving, decision-making and parts of this. How do you see this impacting agents who aren't adapting or aren't like social? What's social, or why would I focus on that? Or, should that even be a part of my business? What do you see that looking like?
I believe 100% like social media is the way to go. I mean, it's really for everything. Like was a little slow to adapt to it until people, like a lot of people kept coming up to me. It's like, oh, I saw this on TikTok. Can you do this? So this on TikTok. So this on TikTok. So I was like, we had the same conversation, but once you saw it on TikTok, like I said, it is validation. So I think it's just like anything else is like, if you don't want to adapt, you might get left behind, or you might have to partner up with someone who will do the adapting, the adapting for you. But there's some people who might not do social media, but they already have such a good groove that they're in because they're working in a different market. So I guess it depends on the market that you're working in. But if I am, since I'm 40 years old, I'm only going to get older, I probably will remain on social media. The people who are older, who weren't on social media, they're getting older, they're passing away. So my generation on up is still going to be on social media. So eventually you will have to tailor to that. And in technology is always changing. Like people really never thought anything of it. Like if you go on Marketplace on Facebook and you reach out to someone and then they respond back to you and you don't respond back right away, Facebook automatically sent a message to alert you to respond to that person. So a lot of people didn't even think about that, but like that is the wave of everything. Like with AI, and that's going to be implemented into our business, every business actually, business as well. Like there's companies that are using AI to pre-underwrite ahead of time without me even speaking to the person. So like there's so many things like you're teaching AI like this person is usually rated at this person is rated at that, and then that's kind of like going to weed out a lot of people or attract a lot of people for you because now they didn't necessarily want to speak to someone just yet. They'll do on a computer, and then that'll lead someone over to you.
Love that. And coming back to what you mentioned earlier, like, oh, I saw it on TikTok, saw this on TikTok. And, I'll see agents sometimes like complain about like seeing agents or something on, oh, they didn't really cover that well, or how they're describing or using this product, I don't agree with, something like that. But in reality, if
It's not the point.
and that's what consumers are seeing, that's all they know, and that's who they're reaching out to, getting their information from and working with. So like if you're like, oh, I have a different perspective, or I feel like this may be better, if you're not on social and talking about this or connecting people through that, they're just going to go to the person that they see and talk through
Correct.
there as well. So you can't go stick a head in the sand in the corner. You got to get in the game if you're going to make these connections and want to have this impact that you want to make. So I think that is a very important point you made of like, I saw this, I saw this, I saw this. Well, if you're not one of the people that they're seeing or communicating with, it doesn't matter. You could be the best agent or the best processes or education in the world, but if they're not coming to you or connecting with you, then it doesn't really matter, right? So,
But you have to take that to an advantage. That is free marketing. That is free marketing for
yes,
you. Like I
yes,
never went to a movie because of the title of the movie. I went to see a movie because of the highlights they put on the commercial. Now, sometimes you go to the movie and it wasn't even that good, but they put the highlights out there, and that's exactly what TikTok is. And if you do know your stuff, that is a great
yep,
opportunity to ask the proper questions when you meet the person. Oh, you saw it on TikTok? What did you see? What did you like? Do you know how it works? Well, this is how it works. That's how you need people to get over to you. And that's all
yep.
social media is. That's all what TikTok is.
Absolutely. And like, so if I'm not what people are seeing or able to connect with, then I'm not even there for someone that they can come to, right? Like if you've never even saw the highlights of my movie, you don't know my movie exists, or considering that
Right.
versus a different movie, right? So you need to be out there connecting where people are spending their time and learning and seeing. Like the world's changed a little bit where people are like, oh, whoever gave me a call on the phone is who I talk with or work with, or I walk down and walk into a, you know, you know, financial services office. They're like, oh, I'm learning, I'm getting educated, I'm finding who I'm connecting with, seeing the highlights from social, and that's where I go to make decisions from or get referrals from and stuff like that too. So got to make sure you're there so that that can come through. So I love that, and I love that you've
Yeah.
adapted that on that side. And so what are you watching closely in your niche and in your area that others might be sleeping on, and kind of leaning into that kind of thoughts and around AI or any tech tools you're either starting to experiment or keeping eyes on as well?
Things that I'm learning is that the consumer is smart
Mm,
because of certain things that are out there. So you have to not only use, social media, but still be able to relate to how people are.
mm,
So the TikTok, the social media is pretty much just like a highlight reel. But when you go to see them, you still have to be relationship building, whether it's a friend, family member, and still how it's going to
mm-hmm,
work. Because a lot of people like I always saw people who was talking about IULs, IULs, IULs because they saw it on TikTok. Great product, but I was like, what is it for?
mm-hmm,
Well, I wanted to do this. I was like, are you sure that's how it's going to work? No, no, no. It's like, well, do you know what the basis of life insurance is really for? Oh, well, not really. But you saw this, but you don't even know how it actually came about. So that is just really the education part. And you don't want to be an order taker just because someone's sold on TikTok and you just want to take advantage. It's like, oh, I got this transaction call today. You still want to be able to educate people on it. And I think that's where people, are dropping the ball. Just use what they saw as a door opener, but you still have to go over everything with them and educate the person or family they're speaking to.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you want to make sure they have the right thing put in place in accomplishing the solution and goals versus like, hey, I saw this magical product called an IUL that gets me millions of dollars I can pull out immediately from day one, right? And it's like, that's not how that works. So let's
Right.
make sure we find the right solution. I know we're laughing, but to the consumer, they might not know, right? And that's why it is important to have the education and connect. Like, I want people to know there's solutions to problems out there and stuff like that. But like I said, we're not order takers. We wouldn't exist if we were order takers. The AI would come replace us all. But the reason why InsurTech, the reason why technology and InsurTech companies, all this stuff have never been able to replace agents and will continue not to be able to is because we're not order takers if we're doing our job right? We are people who are educating and solutions, and the consumer doesn't know these things. You said you know more than the average person because of the license and the tests. You know more than 99.9% of people because they couldn't spell IUL in most cases, right? So IUL, how do you spell that? But yeah. But my point being still like, and so that's why we exist, like to help guide them, help find the solutions, be problem solvers and guides for them as a part of it. So, and have you ever read Building a Brand Story or Building a Story Brand on like the kind of journey of like a hero and a guide and the person that is getting saved essentially, right? Like, so the idea behind that is like a lot of agents and us, I'll bring it to insurance, but a lot of agents like we want to be the hero. Like we're here to save the day and save the consumer and put the right things in place there or ever. But in reality, like when prospects are looking and paying attention, like they don't want us to be the hero. They want to be the hero. Right. And so we're the guide. We're the one who helps them get to those decisions that they seem like a hero for. I just protected my family. I just protected our financial future. I protected our health. Right. And so we're kind of like the Yoda to their Obi-Wan, right? A little Star Wars reference. I'm a bit of a nerd, but that's fine. It's a great movie. I think most people hopefully seen Star Wars in some case.
Yes,
I don't know.
yes.
But yeah. So, but yeah, that's the kind of idea. Like you're the guide, you're the helper, you help put the stuff in place and guide them and keep them from, chopping their arm off with their lightsaber. Right. So, which I've never fully understood how that doesn't happen. Something with the Force or whatever. So maybe that's why I'm not allowed to have one. I don't know. But we actually do have some lightsabers in the office. So when you do come down, yeah, we have a good time. Right? Yeah. So with that though, like, what's success can mean a lot to a lot of different people, but also that can change over time. Like what's one thing you used to believe about success that you no longer do, and maybe as you continue forward in your business?
I mean, to me, it's like a couple definitions, but like the biggest thing for success for me is like everyone's definition of success is different. So I had a bad habit of the comparison success. So I'm looking at the person left to me and their highlight reel. And then I'm looking at myself and saying, I am not a successful person because this person is right here. But meanwhile, I've done things that other people have not done. So success is really built into you, and don't look at what the other person to your left or right are doing, and pretty much just worry about yourself. Mind your business, because you are more successful than you realize that you are. Once you pass that test, like you're successful. Like you said, 99% of the people. Like how many people would not even take the test? We're not even talking about the ones who failed. Like even if you failed, you tried. You try and you'll try again to pass it. But how many people would never even take it? How many people would never even look into the industry because they just want to put their head in the sand when it comes to it? But they need us. And I never felt confident enough to say that people do need me. I was, well, maybe they could that and they could. No. They need us. And to me, that is success for me to even feel like that. Is the money where I want it to be? No. But are there people that I'm helping? Yes. Are people that are saying, thank you so much. I didn't know this is how it worked, and I didn't know that I can get it at that. Yeah, like that is the definition of success. And just like a real quick story, back to
Mhm.
the IO, like there's this person that I know that got with another agent and said, oh, well, you could make money in their policy. I was like, well, yeah, that's right. That's true. I was like, but you have a wife. It was like, yeah, I have a wife. And then don't you have a kid? It's like, yeah, we're trying to have another. And like, I'm not going to go into the complete details of like, if something were to happen, it's like, how long does it take to build up? It's like, I don't know. So you guys didn't even go over it. I was like, but if something were to happen to you tomorrow, because you tell me you travel a lot, what are you leaving with your family? Are you leaving, like, does your wife and kid care about the bells and whistles that are supposed to come with this? Do they care about the highlights you saw in the commercial? He was like, no. And his wife was like, wait a second. No, I would not be happy with that. And he's like, no, you're 100% correct. So I didn't make money off that, but that was a success because I put that family in a better
Mhm.
position than what they were before. So he can go back to his agent. I followed up with him. You know, everything is going to go through, but like the person he worked with, like I was like, did they explain that to you? Like what this real? And it's like, no, they just saw the bells and whistles and what the bells and whistles. So that's what I mean by transactional. And when we
Mhm.
say where people drop the ball, it's the transactional because I saw this. I'm going to get to them real quick and call it days. Like, no, you have to do the right thing by your wife and kids.
I think that's also with like the short term perspective versus the long term perspective. Like if I'm just transactional and I'm just operating this way, then yeah, I get to have the fun of chargebacks and not having great client retention. Probably not going to get a lot of referrals and stuff off this. But I'm playing the long game, doing what's right by the customer, doing my job, what I was supposed to be doing, helping them put that in place. I may not make as much today initially in some cases, but I will have the trust of that person, the referrals, be able to help them in the future and all these things as well, which is ultimately we're building up a business ongoing here. It's not a let
Right,
me make as much money today and peace out next week, right?
right,
Especially after you spend all that time doing all the licenses and putting that stuff in place, like, oh, so I'm here for the long term, right? And
right.
so that I love that's the exact perspective to have. So I love you, walk through and explained on your views of success and also how that applies to the day to day. So, last question, and yeah, like I said, I'd love to have you back, love to talk some more. But I did want to ask, there's people listening right here, what and they've maybe been putting off a goal, like kind of like with you initially, kind of the license and putting that in place, but maybe that goal is getting started in insurance. Maybe it's applying social media to their marketing. Maybe it's hiring someone in their business, like for whatever it is, what would you tell them today as far as that goal they've maybe been holding off on?
I would say whatever it is, um, I would treat myself as if I was talking to someone else. So if I was talking to someone else and said, if you were in a hospital bed, what would go through your mind? Most people would say regret.
Hmm.
Most people would say regret. I wish I would have. I wish I would have. I wish I would have when I could have, but I didn't. And even if you're not in a hospital bed, if you have a conversation, if you look back 5 years right now, there is something you wish you would have done 5 years ago. And still to this day, I say to myself, man, if I would have started this 10 years ago, where would I be right now? One of the biggest things that you don't want to have is regret. Never want to have regret.
I love that. And I think in most cases, regret's not doing something or taking action. More so than is like, I did it, I tried, or I learned from that. And so, at the end of the day, if you're keep holding off on something, is taking that action and moving forward, because nothing changes unless stuff changes, right? So
Right.
we got to take that action for that change. So I love that. Thank you so much, Dana. And for those that,
Thank you.
hey, would love to follow you, connect, keep up with content, what you're putting out, and just also see what you're doing, or maybe even as a potential referral partner for you, where can they do that?
You just hit me up right on Facebook, Dana George. I post like pretty funny stuff with my kids. A lot of people get a kick out of it, and you'll start seeing more posts when it comes to business as well because I'm finally getting everything to go through compliance. And for those who are listening, just do it. Like just go on there right now record something and say, hey, I was really nervous to make this video, but I think I should have made it and posted. That's legitimately like how I started. I had started by just saying things that I was nervous about. And you know what's so funny is that this was years ago, and a lot of people said that was an awesome post. I'm glad you did that. It gave me courage to actually do something myself. I'm glad you did it. Mine was a little crazy because I was on top of the roof of my house with a blower blowing off leaves, and so that was, I wouldn't suggest maybe to do something like that, but I did it, and for some reason I was like, yo, I'm afraid of heights. I was afraid of video, so I did this. I did it at the same time, and it was a lot of people responded to that one. That's how I kicked it off.
I love that. So get with Dana, get your life insurance first before you get up on that roof to make that video. You can
Right.
you get your family protected just in case.
Sorry
But
for the
I like that
disclaimer.
idea of comboing fears together. So it's just like, well, if
Yeah.
I'm afraid of one thing, right? So like, I'm afraid of snakes and tarantulas. Let me just hold these while I do my video, right?
Right.
It will make a great video. I'm sure it'll be fantastic.
It really will.
So
You're making yourself vulnerable and likable,
Mhm.
and like that's what everyone. That's what I'm saying. So it goes back to your point where you were saying like, oh, I sent my license number. I don't care about your license number. I don't even know how to look this up. But when I see you, I don't even know how to look it up. But like, who cares? Who cares
And
about
I
that?
love that. You know, at the end of the day, social and people value transparency, authenticity, and you. And so that's a great way to do that. And
Mhm.
honestly, you'll find, I think more people are worried about judgment and stuff like that, but you'll find more people are going to willing to cheer you on and encourage you and are happy you did that. And so, you know, keep that in mind as I like go to take action. Like a lot of people want to cheer you on and support you, right?
They
And
do.
that's awesome.
They do.
So guys, once again, to get all the show notes, everything we covered, talked about here, as well as how to get connected with Dana, we'll include the link there as well. Just go to jumpstartgonow.com/podcast. You can grab everything there. Dana, thank you so much for joining us. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate
Thank
it
you.
and getting to talk a bit with you. Look forward to watching the continued journey and growth on that success side there. And once again, thank you everybody for joining us on this episode of the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast. We'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.